What's up, all my Kev maniacs out there? This is Big Kev from Big Kev's World. Kev Mania running all over the place here on Saturday. College football is back. High school football is back. NFL is back. I mean, we got a lot of good stuff coming up here soon here on the show. Um, we're going to be doing a part two with the Bell Witch coming up. We're going to be doing a part two interview, but we're also going to be doing her tarot card reading. I'm going to be collaborating here with Big Rim, Juggalo Gamer 85 here pretty soon, and we're going to have some fun with that. Mel is supposed to be doing an interview with me. We got that coming up, and also a lot more Titans football, football talk, sports talks coming, and we're going to get right back into our bios of the pro wrestler. The Undertaker's bio is next. So we're going to be going into that as well. But today is a video that I just saw recently. It was 2.5 hours. So I'm not going to respond 2.5 hours to Steven Rose's video. I mean, I'm just not going to do 2 hours out of my day to do that because, well, one, I don't have that time, and two, I don't think we need to do that long of a response. But without further ado, let me see if I get this shared right here. Share screen. All right. Shoot. Let's get Steven's mug up here on the screen.
All right. You to call me all the time. Hell, I don't even like being called all the time either. I don't even like calling you all the time. A text here now and there, a call here and now and there is fine. But they will never, ever, ever call you back. And sometimes it can be important, and sometimes they'll see your call coming in and they won't answer. So you call and you're like, what is it? Could be something important. Yeah, I was going to invite you out with the buddies, man. I got you. Beer's on me. Motherfucker.
Here's the response to that. Him talking about the whole fiasco of, people may not be able to call you, people trying to call you to hang out, and, you don't always want to respond to calls and texts and stuff like that. There are friends out there who don't respond to texts very much, and there's some that don't respond to calls. We got friends that are like that. That you're like, man, I just wrote you a fucking novel about something, and now you're just finally responding 2 to 3 days later. There are kind of people out there like that, but when usually 9 out of 10 when someone calls me and Mel and we don't answer the phone, 9 out of 10 it's either A, we're doing stuff together, or B, we are with family and we're just not going to answer your call right then and there, no matter how urgent it is. But we'll manage to contact you back. So there are people out there like that.
Fuckers don't pick up. Never want to pick up. That's number 28. Let's go to number 27, which is the typical bullshit you run into in life, is people who gossip. Now, we've all been there. A lot of you can gossip before. I ain't even gonna lie to you. But the gossip, there's a difference between every now and then and just doing it all the time and doing it for no reason. When you got, and it's usually the only guys that gossip behind my back is just the ones that are trying to chase pussy. That's really what it is. And that's cool. Guys do shit like that. I get it. But it's different when you're just cock blocking, when you're just blatantly gossiping, dude, for no fucking reason. Like, dudes nowadays will just gossip about you behind your back, and it's like, and it's always a woman that comes to me to tell me this shit. And she'll say, yo, and so said this about you. All right. Really? You don't say. He said that to you? Mm-hmm. He's talking shit about you, saying this, and that about you. Huh. Really? So it's always a woman that has to come to me to tell me that this man is talking shit about me, when he didn't have the balls to call me to tell me personally. Hell, I would even respect the man who does that. Hell, even my opposition on YouTube,
This is a good one here that Steven mentioned. Um, I have dealt with people like this in my past. I think we've all, as men, we've all dealt with this kind of situation before. Um, and what Steven's kind of diving into, and I feel like that I can kind of jump on what Steven was talking about, is there are some very sneaky, grubby, son of a bitch men out there who are all in it for themselves. They and if a female is involved, and 9 times out of 10 means the reason why he's telling that girl shit, and 9 times out of 10 it's usually horse shit, and they usually twist it around to fit their narrative to tell that girl, so that way that girl will believe them over you. There are some really good fucking liars in this world. I shit you not. There are some real good ass kissing liars out there who can turn the narrative to their advantage. And most times, the only reason why they're doing that is because one, they don't want to see you happy, and two, they just want to take something that doesn't belong to them. And that is something that I built with. And then you get the guys on there that will gossip to the girl because it's all about a competition thing. But then again, when you're face to face with that person doesn't have a lick of sense to say anything to you face to face. But now, if they're on a keyboard, however, they can be in their little keyboard warrior stage, then they can say all the shit that they want to you because they're in the comfort of their own home, their own place. They're not in front of you face to face. So when you are face to face with a person, that's when I will respect you. If you came up to me face to face and pretty much told me how you felt about me, I would respect you to no end. But I dealt with guys like that. Hell, they even like try to end your friendships with other people by telling you one thing, and then they'll go and tell the other person something else, and then before you know it, the story has changed 4 or 5 different times since the first time you heard it. So, and girls don't sugarcoat it. They pretty much will tell you, look, this is what he told me. I'm like, oh really? This is what he told you? Okay. Well, this is what really happened. And then you have to really explain and express how you feel afterwards. So it's kind of like a two-way street on that. But that was number 27 he's talking about, I guess.
That talk shit about me, make videos about me, I can at least respect that about them because they have the balls to title my name in the video and say, this motherfucker is this, and that. I respect people like that because they have the balls to say it. And they don't have no. And I'm like, okay, cool. I can respect that. But then when these women come to you and they're like, yeah, so-and-so's been talking shit about you. I'm like, really? What'd they say? And then they break it down because women always tell anyway. They never can keep a fucking secret. So they'll say, yeah, so-and-so was talking shit. I'm like, oh, for real? All right, I see how the motherfucker is. So then that's when the tides are turning. You really want to see how a man is behind your back? You put a bunch of bitches in front of him, he'll start gossiping about you. Mm-hmm. So I said, okay, that's cool. That's what's up.
Yeah, you put a bunch of females between two dudes. The one guy who's actually a real good guy is not going to gossip because that guy is just going to be like, hey, let's all hang out, let's all be cool. The other guy who's got ulterior motives is the one that's going to go over there and be like, hey, well, I don't like that guy. You shouldn't like that guy either because he does this and he does that. And they'll tell a big sob story to that girl about you. And then you have to go and defend yourself later because you're like, what the fuck? I didn't say that. And then that's the nature of the beast, obviously. There are some guys who are very sneaky and very underhanded people. And those kind of people deserve to die a really burning death, and they really deserve to get their whole entire body stretched and their organs devoured and being fed to some sharks in the ocean. But life doesn't happen that way. So, that's how I look at it. I mean, I can see what Steven's talking about here. You know, you got those guys that will talk all that shit and they'll tell the girl one thing about you or two things about you, and then they'll twist the entire conversation and it becomes this complete and utter clusterfuck. And then you're basically like, well, what the fuck just happened? And then when you find out what the fuck just happened, all hell breaks loose. And then you're having to basically scramble and you're having to basically defend yourself over something that was complete gossip and bullshit and hearsay. A lot of people believe hearsay, but it's how you basically go about that hearsay to make someone believe it. That's just how I look at it. I'm just responding to Steven's thing there.
Oh, and I won't even confront him. Why should I? All right, cool. All right. So she's got more balls than you have to come tell me what you said.
Exactly.
Gotcha,
Exactly. Yep.
Okay, so now that's number 27. Number 26 is the cock block friend. Sometimes they may not do it on purpose. It may be an accident, but they do it. They cock block you inadvertently or sometimes overtly. That's kind of an easy one. I mean, guys compete all the time, so that's really kind of irrelevant. But I just thought I'd throw that in there for bonus. All right.
Never really experienced the cock blocking thing that he's talking about, but I can honestly say that I've seen it happen. You know, when I work security at the bars, I've seen it with old friends back then. If there is one girl around and those two single guys see that girl, all bets are off on that point. It becomes a competition between those two men to get that girl's attention, and they will cock block and they will do things to make sure that they can get the upper hand in order to get that girl. That is pretty much have been a stamp. It's been like that with men for a long time. Not every man's like that. I'm not like that. I didn't really cock block anybody back then, but you know, there are men out there that are like that. So I can see what you're talking about there, but I think a lot of it is just a lot of cock blocking situation.
Here's number 25, which I think a lot of you who have a vehicle can relate to this. If you have a car that works, that can drive, doesn't matter the type of vehicle, but it drives, they expect you to drive them all around as if you never get tired. Now, if you drive a vehicle, you know when you drive a long time, you get tired. Even like an hour or two of driving. Like even when I'm driving 4 hours, I'm tired. Last thing I fucking want to do is drive. Drive a couple hours, last thing I want to do is drive. It's like, let's just go somewhere. No, let's drive around, let's go over here. That's cool and all. But when you're not the one driving, you're sitting passenger seat, it's easy for you to tell somebody to drive your punk ass around. And I don't mean punk ass literally, but in this instance, yes, because when somebody has to drive you around all the time, it's tiring, man. You know, people, and this even happens in Houston, mind you. This isn't like an out-of-town thing, but this happens predominantly in my area.
All right, so Steven's talking about, and particularly in his area, and what he's dealing with. Yeah, there's some people out there like that, especially if you drive them everywhere and you pick them up from their work and you do all this, and there's no thank you, there's no hospitality back towards and stuff like that. That's when I really do not want to help somebody. If you're appreciative and it's one of those things where that person really needs your help, that's different. You know, that's a different story. I don't know what Steven's been through with that, but honestly, and people I know, if you really need a ride, you better have a really legit reason why you need a ride. Because not everybody we know is just gonna basically go, hey, let me come here and pick you up. That's not gonna happen.
Like people want rides, they want to go places, they want you to drive them, but they never want to drive, which I don't want people driving my car anyways, because if they get hurt, if they get in a wreck with my car, I'm not covered in their insurance. They're not covered in my insurance. So I prefer to drive, but it's the principle that matters. Driving around gives you a headache. I don't care who you are. If you have a car, let me tell you something. I got my first vehicle. I was been driving since I was 13. My father actually taught me when I was 11 to backing out of the driveway and putting it in and stuff because he wanted to learn the basics. By the time I was 13, I was able to drive a vehicle. By the time I was 16, I got a permit. By the time I was 17, I had a license in the state of Texas. Okay? When you first get a car when you're 17 or 16, however old you are, when you first get a vehicle, you want to drive it around. As you get older, you want to drive like that, man. It burns up a lot of fucking gas. You got to replace the fucking gas. And not only that, it's tiring. Like, I actually get headaches sometimes from driving so much. You know, it's not, when you get old, as you start to get older, I'm not like 50 or 60 or anything like that. Like I said, so much 20, but it's the principle that you get older, you get tired of fucking driving a lot, man. This shit gets tiring. I just imagine how truck drivers are, man. They put so much fucking time on the road, man. Even driving little as 2 or 3 hours just throws your whole day off. And it's always your buddies that don't have a vehicle, that don't understand how that works. It's easy for them in the passenger seat to tell you to drive them everywhere, even if they're throwing in gas. It's just the principle that matters. And sometimes, most of your friends don't even give you gas. But even for the times they do, it's the principle that matters. You have to drive these cocksuckers around. And it gets tiring. Anybody who has a vehicle, you know what I'm talking about. If you never drive, but you know how to drive, but you never really drive a lot, you don't know what it's like, because you can sit passenger seat and people ordering you around. Drive here, drive there, stop here, stop there, stop here, drive here, out of the top and take a shit. It's like, dude, it's tiring, man, to drive so much. And you have buddies that you have like that 1 or 2 or 3 friends that are like that, man.
Steven, I got one question. Who the fuck do you drive around, man? That's like telling you, hey, go here, go here, go here. Oh, no, go here, go here. Because I've never experienced that. And yeah, it's a choice. By the way, Steven, I'm going to agree with my wife here. You can't really complain about taking someone anywhere if it's a choice. It's your choice. It's your choice to say yes or no. And if you don't say no, then you can't complain that you're taking them to these places or you're doing this. When someone asks you, it's your choice to say yes, and it's your choice to say no. So I have to disagree with you on this, because you have to look at it from that perspective too. Because if you basically have a friend who's getting rides from you all the time, and you're saying yes, that's on you. That's not on them at that point. I mean, you need to have a set thing, like, okay, well, where do you need to go? This is what we would do in this situation. Where do you need to go? Where are you going for? Will you be able to give us gas money? Those are the 3 questions that I would ask in that situation. And you said it's the principle, the whole thing with the gas money. Yes and no, because the illogical situation in this situation is that you, the driver, are giving them the ride. So if you're letting the passenger dictate where you're going, where you're, take me here, take me here, take me here, take me here, and you're taking them here, then you are just as much to blame as the person who's in the passenger side. Facts, bro.
Don't say it's just me either. What team cap you wearing? Rockets. Plus City Edition. Yes, driving gives me a headache. Yes, Christina, actually men do gossip worse than the women do. Unfortunately, we are living in those times. Dudes gossip way more than women do. In fact, it's expected for women to gossip. The guys gossip badly. And if you want to test how a man really is, you just put a bunch of women around him. He'll talk shit about all of his guy friends just to even get a taste of that.
Yep.
I'll even go on a rant in that later. This is irrelevant.
Yep.
Okay. So we talked about that. Number 24. They always want to invite their friends that I don't know or I barely know. Hey, can my friend come with us? I don't know him or I may know of him. I like met him once or twice. They're like, well, can my friend come? And 99% of the time, that motherfucker's broken and got no money. And you know what that means. You're coming out the pocket to pay. It never fails. In fact, I'll even give an example. Travis, a good friend of mine, who has money, and we go out and we have a good time. He said, hey, my friend wants to come. I went to Dallas. He said, my buddy Charles would love to come with us and spend time at Fair Park for the fireworks show. Mind you, he lived on the other side of town, past the fireworks show in Fair Park. I'm in the south side of Dallas. I said, so I got to drive to the north side, then back downtown? No. I said, he's got to give me gas money. So he said, okay, I'll ask him. He asked him, and the dude was like offended that I would ask for gas money. He said, wait a minute, I shouldn't have to give that man gas money. I thought we all agreed that I was going to come the month before. I said, no. You might have made an agreement with my friend, that's your friend, but he's not the driver and it's not his vehicle. I'm a third party and I'm charging you for gas money. And he was just like, well, I thought we agreed. I said, no.
All right. So, well, Stephen, what you're trying to say is that there's people that when you're throwing a party, whether it's like a bonfire, whether it's a cookout, whether it's a birthday party, whatever the fuck it is, you're over here saying now that you don't want someone to come that's a friend with someone else. I can tell you this much, and I'll give you an example. We have a good friend named Mike who does some good barbecues. Sometimes he does bonfires, and if we're inviting someone new that he does not know, I ask him right off the bat. We ask him. And if he says no, then we'll be like, cool, respect that, because that's his place, that's his crib. So if and that guy does some recreational stuff. So if he does not know you and does not trust you, then yeah, he's not going to have you come to his party. I mean, we've had that happen where some people have asked us, and me and Mel have said yes, and sometimes we've said no. It's the principle of asking. I mean, at least they're asking you, hey, can I invite this person here with me because, they're my homeboy or they're my girl. So can I invite them or can I invite them? Is your choice as that person to say yes or no. And when you're talking about this whole thing with Travis and Travis's friend, yes, you are the third wheel. I mean, you are the third person. You are the one driving around. So obviously, yes, I agree with you that person can ask Travis all he wants, and Travis can say, yeah, man, come on. But I do agree that it has to be coming from you, because at that point, you're the one driving them around. So let's keep going.
Whatever you two agreed on, that nothing to do with me. I'm charging you for this pickup, for this ride. He got mad and he said, well, I guess I'm not going. I said, well, I guess you aren't. Get the fuck out of here. I don't even know you like that. You know what I'm saying? I don't even fucking know this motherfucker like that. And he's going to sit here. And, oh my God. The audacity of people, the entitlement of people. This is crazy. I don't even know this motherfucker. With no disrespect to Travis if he's watching, but that's like, well, what the fuck is this? I don't even know that fool. I don't even have to pick him up. I'm just telling him, give me $10, give me $15. And it was still like $3.50 a gallon in gas, like almost $4. I said, just tell him to give me 10, slide me a 10, he can come. And he's like, well, I ain't got no money like that anyway. I said, well, then why do you go out and you ain't got no money? I mean, dudes will do this. Broke motherfuckers, like guys, they'll go out places that require you spend money and they will come with no money. Like, this is crazy. Like, how do you do that? This doesn't make any sense. Boy, I swear. Okay, so you got number 23, which is the crybaby. Now, I've run into a couple guys like this, and I'm not saying I've had my days where I've cried a little bit, complained a little bit, but not all the time. I like to go out, I like to have a good time. I spend time with whoever, have a wonderful time. But you always got people or certain people that'll come and they'll cry about every little thing. They're like, man, you know, yeah, those this fucking crybaby, you know. It could be something at their house. It could be a bad breakup, or this girl didn't call me back, or whatever. And it's just like, dude, I don't care about all that. Like, I don't care about you. You know, well, why the fuck are you telling me all this? I don't care. I mean, like, I'm sorry to hear about that, but like, why are you being a crybaby about it? Or like, man, it's too expensive to go out. Man, it's too expensive. It's just too expensive to do things now. You know, like, fucking crybabies, dude. Did you think you were just gonna go out and it was free? Did you think the restaurant was gonna serve you for free?
All right. So I hate to say this one here, Steven, but you're being a prick on this one, man. I mean, for the love of God, bro. Um, if you have a friend who's coming to you and they're going through a bad breakup, or one of their parents or someone died in their family, or they lost their pet, whatever the fuck, and they're coming to you and talking to you about something that happened to them, that is because they trust you enough as their friend to be like, hey, can I come to you about this? And the fact that you're calling them a crybaby, that is, I mean, I'm not gonna lie, bro. That's some really jerk shit, bro. That is some real jerk shit on that one. Now, yeah, people shouldn't complain about the whole, people complaining about the gas prices and the prices of food going up. Yeah, that's going around. Everybody's complaining about that, and I'm pretty sure secretly you've complained yourself on that. And when that one doesn't paint you in a good picture, man. I mean, sometimes people really do need advice. Some people really do come to you because they think, hey, man, you're my friend. I can come to you. I can talk to you about this. And if you're over here calling them a crybaby because they're about that, yeah, maybe you don't want to hear about what they're going on. Then if that's the case, all you got to do is say, look, I understand this stuff happened to you. You could easily say this. I understand that you just went through a breakup, or you just went through that. I get it. I feel for you. But I really do not want to talk about that right now. Man, you shouldn't talk about that. Make that person feel like, hey, let's just go out. Let's not talk about it. Let's just go out, have some fun. Fuck what happened. You need to let your mind loose. That is being a good friend. What's up, Leon? So yeah, I mean, with Stephen Rose, when you're over here saying that people shouldn't be there for their friend because their friend is quote unquote being a crybaby, that is a totally different ball game. Because let's say, for example, let's say one of you, okay, Stephen, let's say if you're in a relationship for a long time, or you were married, or you were engaged, or whatever the fuck, and that girl decided to drop kick your ass. On number 23, yes. Um, but let's say, Stephen, that you were in a relationship and that girl left you, and you were with that girl for a long, long time. Think about how that person feels on the other end. There's a lot of people that deal with mental health. There's a lot of people that deal with emotions differently than most other people. So when you go in there and you say, well, why are you being a crybaby? Say, for example, say you were with a girl for 5 years, 6 years, and that girl was everything to you, or that person was everything to you. What are you? And I'm talking to gay people too. Anybody in that situation. You got some guys out there who are like, I don't give a fuck. I can find another. I can find another bitch and get it over with. You got some guys that are like that, and that's perfectly fine. But you also got the guys who wear their heart on their sleeve, who actually give a damn about the person that they're with. And when they get a breakup happen, or a separation, or whatever the fuck it is, yeah, they're heartbroken. They need people to talk to them. And they are going to talk about their problems because they don't want to be alone. That's one of the reasons why a lot of people commit suicide, is because people don't have people to talk to. They feel like they're alone. They feel like they don't have anybody that they can talk to. And when you're over here saying, well, You know, I mean, that kind of, I'm not going to lie, Stephen, that made you look ignorant. Ignorant. You know what? Ignorant. Yes, thank you. Because that should, because I would look at it like, man, me and you are friends. So I would look at it like, dude, if I came to you and you, I'm like, man, is he going to think I'm a crybaby now? That's, you gotta think what you gotta think and feel how the other person is feeling as well. Because if you don't want to hear about a breakup, and this is one time I had a breakup once in 2003, the first girl that I was engaged with. And what did my childhood buddy do? He let me talk. And he said, "You know what, Kev? We need to go out and have some fun. Get your mind off of it. Let's go out and have some fun." And that's exactly what we did, and it worked. So instead of saying, "Oh man, that dude's a crybaby," blah blah blah, no, he basically let me vent, gave me some advice, and then after that we went to go have some fun, and it wasn't talked about again. Sometimes that's all we need. We need to know. People need to know they can come and trust their friends on that situation because truth be told, me and Mel, we look at our friends not as just friends. We look at our friends as family. Sometimes our friends are more family to us than our own family. So when you say something like that, it kind of, I don't know, that kind of rattled my cage a little bit, I have to say.
That's not how it works. Fucking idiots. They think if they cry long enough, that somebody will feel sorry for them, which probably has to be me. That means I'm footing the bill. That's basically what that means.
Now, I will say that I do agree that there are people out there who like to cheat the system, who like to cheat things that they can do to get the most max out of anything that they can get their hands on. Some people do use grief, and some people do use things as a way to manipulate other people. I do agree with that. That does happen. However, you can tell whether or not your homeboy is either genuine or your homeboy is not genuine. That's easy to tell.
Not happening. Okay, so number 22. You got a whiner and complainer. You ever had that friend that's a whiner or complainer? This is kind of like a crybaby, but always complains about everything. Places you go, oh, I don't want to go out to that place because they gave me bad service last time, or I don't want to go out to this place because of XYZ. Oh, that girl over here, I asked for a fucking number. I asked the fucking waitress for a number. She said, no, I don't want to go back there. You have some friends that are like that, man. Unbelievable. I'm like, bro, so you mean you don't want to go here because this girl didn't give you your number? And this is completely.
Again, me and Mel have been through this situation too. So, say for example, when we have thrown birthday parties for each other, they could be at a location. We got some friends who may not want to go to a bar because they don't like smoke. Some people are allergic to smoke. Some people have asthma, and some people don't want to be in that surrounding. You know what we do? We don't change our plans. We're just like, hey, I'm sorry. I mean, I wish you could come, but we can't. That's exactly what you do. That's how you put an end to that situation. So if someone's complaining about it, people have a right to complain. I mean, like if they had bad service at a place, like a restaurant, and someone's had bad service, doesn't just because you didn't have bad service doesn't mean that they didn't have bad service. So in return, they have a chance to they should be able to express how they feel. Now there are some real bad complainers out there who we've seen people before who have had really good paying jobs and they'll complain about it and they'll be like, I don't like my boss. Well, I didn't get that girl's number, so she's a fucking bitch and blah 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 blah. And I'm just like, dude, you have a job, you're getting paid, you're happy, shut the fuck up. So I do understand that from that perspective, but your perspective you're talking about, and this is what me and Mel have dealt with, is if we'll come up with an idea about going somewhere, and we have a friend who we have a really good friend now who doesn't like being around alcohol as much, so they don't want to be in a bar scene because they don't want to be around the alcohol. And when they're you doing? So they don't want to be around the alcohol. So they'll tell us, hey, I don't really feel like going out to the bar because I don't want to be around alcohol. And there could be a reason why they don't want to be around the alcohol. Maybe they've had a family member that's been abusive of alcohol. Maybe they've had. Hell, I'm a former alcoholic. As a teenager, when I was 17, I was an alcoholic. So I've been there. I understand. And it took a lot of stuff in me when I worked security at the bars. It took a lot for me not to get used to wanting to drink again. So you have to understand where that person's come from, because that person could have came through some shitty ass things in their life. They could have had their parents abuse them. They could have been from a poor family. I was raised from a poor family. My family growing up, we had to scratch and claw to make ends meet. I had to live on the really bad streets of West Nashville. I had to get in street fights every day just to survive. So I mean, you got to keep in mind when you say stuff like that, you have to keep in mind where that other person's been, because if you don't know where that other person's been, then you can't really complain and bitch and complain about them either. Because what you're doing is you're bitching and complaining about that person, just like you're complaining, just like you think they're complaining, you're complaining about them. So it's a two-way street.
Irrelevant. Food's good, service is great. You didn't get no pussy, now you're mad. Like, fuck out of here. All right, so let me go ahead and read some of the comments. I hate driving around running errands on my days off. I don't even like driving anymore, bro. Why do fake friends, they use you for everything? Well, it's not even the fact that they just use you. It's just the fact that all these things that I'm reading.
That's a good comment that that one of your subscribers put on there. Why do fake friends use you? Fake friends only use you if you allow them to use you. That's pretty much it. Like, if a fake friend is allowing you, if you're allowing that friend or that old friend to do this and get away with murder, then you are just responsible as that person is with using you. Period. That's just cold hard facts. Because you as the person, me as the person, anyone in this situation, you have the power to say no. And no. You have that power. You have that right to say no to anything. And if they think you're an asshole and a piece of shit, let them think so. Let them go over there in their little group of friends on Google Hangouts and stuff like that. Let them go on Facebook chats and talk shit about you, because that's all they could do is talk shit about you, because they never could do it in front of your face. I've dealt with that. And then when you confront them, this is the one that's good. When you confront them, they blame it on everybody else. That's when you know you got a fake ass busted.
It's just as bad. Which, sometimes it's always about money, but that does play a factor. But a lot of times it's other things. Like, here goes number 21, the know-it-all. And I know, I always say I know a lot of things, and I do, but there's a difference between YouTube and real life. And you just have that buddy or whatever that's a know-it-all, knows everything. You can't tell them a fucking thing. It just knows everything. So you can't tell him shit or her shit. So therefore, it gets kind of a little annoying after a while, because they just know everything. I just said, okay. So let's go ahead and go to number 20.
Okay. Quickly with this one. You said that there are people out there that are Mr. Know-it-alls. There's some people that don't really have anything going on in their life, and they just read. They read and read and read and read. They look online. Whether online is factual or not. I mean, most shit online is not factual, but let's say in this case it is. It's factual. That person's studying everything that they can study. And when you tell someone, they're like, yeah, I know, I heard about that, or yeah, I know about this. Like, and most times out of 10, they don't know what the fuck you just saying. They're just saying that they do because they want to be right about a situation. That's a mental health issue. People who feel like they have to be right about everything, that's a mental health issue. If you feel like you have to be right in everything that you're doing, everything, every little argument, every little discussion, then there's a problem with you mentally in your head. Period. I mean, there are some people out there, and it does get annoying. And I have to agree with Steven on this. It does get annoying because people, when they know it all, and we have a good buddy here who's kind of a know it all as well, and they, me and Mel, we just approach them a little differently than we do other people. How we approach them is we just let them say shit out of their ass. We just let them talk out of their ass, and that's pretty much what you do. Well, someone who wants to be right about everything, you let them talk out of their ass, even if you know that they're full of shit. Let them talk out of their ass. Let them get it out of their system. You can just sit there in your head and going, "Yeah, you're a dick. Yeah, you're not right. Yeah, you're stupid. Whatever." Let them think that way, because that would make, just let them get it out of their system. That's usually what we do, anyways.
And look, I like to talk politics every now and then. Hell, I do it a lot with me and Marvin because we both talk politics. Now, I don't like to talk politics when I'm going out places to have fun. A sports bar. I want to go out, have fun. I don't want to talk politics. Yeah, I'm a pro-Trump guy, so what? It's completely irrelevant now. Even though technically Trump supporters are a threat to democracy, according to Biden in his previous rant yesterday, is kind of crazy, but okay.
Yeah, I don't care what that senile Lord Palpatine Biden has to say about anybody being a threat to democracy. He can kiss my ass on that one. So I agree with you on that. Honestly, yeah. When it comes to the word politics, I don't even like talking to politics on here. Like, I don't even like doing it, period. But when politics is discussed, it's usually over like dinner or private conversations. But if you're out with your friends, or you're having family, you're having dinner, or you're at a sports bar, like Steven said, it's a different story, because at that point you're like, look, I'm trying to have fun. I'm trying to listen to music. I'm trying to have a beer. I'm trying to have some wings or whatever the hell. And I don't want to hear about this shit, because politics have broken up a lot of friendships. They've broken up relationships. They've broken up friendships. Hell, they've broken up family members. And it's one of those words that you just don't, I don't really care too much to talk about it.
So I'm a threat to society, I guess, whatever that means. But I don't rub it in people's faces. But if they ask me, I tell them, yeah, I voted for him. Yeah, he didn't win, so what? I'm crying my conservative tears, as they say. But it's cool, whatever. Politics ain't that big of a deal to me. It's not. But some people take that shit seriously. And they will talk about it like sports. And I'm like, oh, man, I don't really like. It's cool on YouTube, podcast, sometimes private conversations. But when I'm going outside, I don't want to talk about that shit, bro. I'm going to a sporting event. I don't want to hear nothing about politics. I don't care if you're a pro-Trump guy. I don't want to hear about it, man. I'm just leave that shit for another time. So talking politics is cool, but some people take that shit way too seriously. And it's really not that seriously to talk about politics. It's not that serious, dude. But some people talk about it like it's a sporting event. It's not a sporting event, dude. This is a bunch of rich fucking politicians who could give a shit less about us anyway. So why does it matter?
Yep.
Okay, so now that we've got that out of the way, let's go to number 19. Now, I'm a brainiac. I'm a very intelligent guy. I pre-plan most of my things ahead of time. For example, I'm going to Dallas for a week, put in for my vacation October 15th to the 22nd. We'll be in Dallas for 7 days. And I'm already writing down things that I want to do. You can call it inquiry. I call it what do they call it? There's a term for it. I forgot what the term is called. I used to know it. I used to know it back in the day, and now it's just not in my mind. But it's a list of stuff you put together prior, and then you have that preparedness going out. Last thing you want to do is go out places and have to wait till the last minute to put it together, especially when you're going out of your city and you're going to other places for vacation. It would be pointless for you to travel somewhere, anywhere, without having a proper um, itinerary. Itinerary. That's the word. There you go. Thank you, Christina. Itinerary. So you put it together.
Yeah, it's good to. I know me and Mel, when we're going out of town or we going to visit family or we're just going on vacation, we love to plan ahead. That's just something that we do. We like to find out where spots are at, where the good restaurants are at, where the good music venues are at, and things of that nature. So I agree with this one. You know, you want to be the one to plan it, and you don't want to be. And I've been in a situation where I've been around people that will go out of town and they don't have nothing planned at all, and you're like, well, what the fuck? You got nothing planned? I mean, now it's cool that you're going. Now I have to question this, and this is just a tease between you and Travis. You know, I like you both, but you two see an awful lot of each other. I'm talking about. Is there something going on that we should know about there in Texas? Is there some broke back shit going over there or something? I mean, I just want to know. Um, Actually, I don't want to know, but because I remember you were supposed to come to Nashville like 2 or 3, 4 different times and never did. And I planned, and I remember when I was working for my security company at that time, I took all that week off. Mel took that week off, those couple of days off, and then you told us at the last minute you weren't coming. So me and Mel were out of money at that point. We didn't get no money for that week. So it's also cool to plan, but it's also cool to make sure that the person that's coming is actually going to be showing the fuck up. Got to throw that out there.
Together. You have a list. I got like 20 things written down I want to do in Dallas. Down there. I'm still not even done. In fact, when I end this video in about an hour and a half, I will continue to write more stuff down. So, anyways, number 19. People make plans with you, but they depend on you to put everything together. Now, that's fine because I enjoy doing it anyway. I always like looking on the computer and researching where I'm going, what I'm going to be doing. Most people who travel do that. It don't matter if you travel to city, state, or country. People always like to see, okay, why? That makes no logical sense. If you told me 3 months from now, hey, if you told me 3 months from now, Steve, we're going to, let's just say, we're going to Vegas, for example, in 3 months. You got 90 days. You can bet your ass within 24 hours I'm researching places I'm going to go and things I'm going to do. People don't do this shit. People do not plan ahead. I notice like most of my friends or like most people I know, they wait till the last effing minute to do shit. People wait till 5 minutes before to leave to pack. People are irresponsible, man.
I can tell you this much, Steven. I may know about that too. If we go somewhere, even if it's in town, I like to know the layout of the building. I like to know where the exit signs are at. I like to know where everything is at because I'm a planned, skillful person. So I need to know if something bad's going off. Where's the exit signs? Where I need to go? Where do I need to do this? And how much is parking? Where can you park at? Where's the good parts of town? Where's the bad parts of town? You know, that's just common sense.
It's like, how do you not prepare for any of this? This doesn't even make any sense. Like, I don't get it. Most people are like this. It's crazy. So now we're past that. Okay, so now let's go to number 17. And this is something I'm going to go ahead and give Marquise a shout out on this one if he's watching. People never want to leave the house. Never want to leave the house. It's like they're fucking hermits now. Now you're going to say, well, the pandemic. This is the reason why the pandemic, Stephen. And the COVID is the reason why people are not energetic to go out. And it's just too fucking expensive to go out. But even menial things, I can name about 5 things right now you can do that don't cost money. Hiking, bike riding, mountain climbing, if there's a mountain by you or plains. You can go to a beach. We got tons of beaches, but over here we got.
Okay. The reason why some people are staying in nowadays is not just because of the pandemic. Now, that's the excuse that some people will use. And you're talking about hermit crowds with that purse. Okay. Look at the way the gas prices and look at the way the price of food is right now. And everything's going up. Like a car, getting your car towed, going to the mechanic is up. Um, Planning your trips, hotels are more expensive now. There's a lot more things that are expensive now. So obviously, people are like, "Well, why in the world am I going to spend that much money when I could just stay at home?" I mean, like shit. Me and Mel got a fire pit in the backyard now. I could go have a bonfire at any point in time. And I'm like, why the fuck would I want to go and do that when I can basically save money and be here? And I know some people are like, well, you can't. Well, Kev, if you die, where's that money go? If you and Mel both got in a car accident, where's that money go? And you're right. That's true. But let's look at this logic. Some people have mental issues. Some people have mental health problems. And sometimes feel being at home makes them feel safe. So when you are over here, we're getting down to the nitty gritty. So we're getting down to the nitty gritty here with the numbers now. So it's not just necessarily the pandemic, but you got to think about it. That mental health and being the pandemic and having all those lockdowns and things like that. People are scared, and they have a right to be scared. Now, some people have general anxiety. Some people have phobias that creates disillusion that if they're at home, they feel more safe. And then plus, the way the world is now, people can go and stream movies on at home now. Instead of spending 10 or 12 bucks for a ticket to a movie, they can go and do it at home. And all they got to do is get a VPN thing, and they're fine. You know, that's just the way of the world is. The technology is so much different now. People have Hulu, you have Netflix, you have Disney Plus, and Tubi, you have Peacock and Paramount Plus. So there's a lot of apps that people can just stay at home and watch stuff and keep themselves out of trouble. Because it's not just gas prices, not just food that's going up. The price of wood's going up. So if you want to hire someone to work on a deck or work on some of your house, it's going to cost more. The housing market is more expensive. Everything is more expensive. So it's not the fact that they're being a hermit crab and they don't want to just go out and do anything. Sometimes being at home, people got video games too. People got like Xbox and PlayStations, and they already got friends that they can talk to on their headset, and they could play, they could do their thing. It makes them feel safe. It makes them feel being at home. So I don't really see a problem with it now. I do feel like, yeah, you need to go out and get some fresh air because, being at home will make you drive yourself crazy. But if you got a lot of shit to do at your house, I don't see the difference with it.
Sylvan Beach over here in LaPorte, you got Texas City. Yeah, you have to spend a little bit of gas, probably, $20 for gas and maybe bring some food with you. But other than that, man, you're good. But the thing is people don't want to leave that fucking house. Never. Now, you're probably gonna say, well, look who's talking. You sit in the fucking house. That is true. I do. But guess what? I'm off days. I try to go out. And the only reason why I haven't been going out lately is because my fucking back. And my back's getting better. So when I'm off on Tuesday, I'm going hiking again. And then on Friday, I plan on doing something. I think I'm going to go to a movie or something by myself or whatever. You see what I'm saying? People never want to leave the fucking house. It's fucking bullshit. And they make up all these fucking excuses. But I'm about to call the hypocrisy out on these motherfuckers. They never want to leave the fucking house. They make every fucking excuse in the world. But guarantee you, these motherfuckers. I'm going to get on this in a minute. And
you may think, Stephen, that it's an excuse. And most people who think like you are going to probably think it's an excuse. And maybe it is. Maybe it legitimately it is an excuse. but you may not. I don't think you understand the mental health world very well to be making these comments, because there's people with PTSD, there's people with general anxiety, social phobia. Um, they have all different kinds of phobias. You should look that up, man. Like, look up a lot of this stuff, because obviously you would understand a lot better on why maybe one of your friends or maybe someone you know is staying at home mostly. Um, the media brainwashed a lot of people during that pandemic. They made people feel like, hey, if you go out there and do this, you're gonna die. This and that. Me and you, people like me and you, we're smart enough to know that that wasn't true, but there are people out there who believe what they hear, and you can't fault them for that. That's their prerogative. That's the thing about this country. It's your prerogative to think that way. There are some people who have sleep disorders. Some people may have a health issue why they don't want to get out all the time. And those are things that you have to understand. That's not an excuse. I mean, if you ever had sleep apnea, which I do, you have to understand that that's not an excuse. It's just if we're tired and we can't sleep that night, that during that day, and we're asleep, and we got a day off and we're asleep, that's what we're gonna do. You ain't pulling us out of the house to do that. I mean, some people go to the gym, but also too, another reason why people are afraid to go out now, because the borders are opening up more and more violence is coming, more unregistered guns, guns on the black market are coming. People are getting shot at. People are, like, here in Tennessee alone, people in Nashville alone. There's people who are getting shot at while driving on the highway, just getting back to work or going to work. There's some motherfuckers shooting at people for no reason. So that's the reason why people are a little bit more afraid to go out like they used to. I mean, you got to think about that.
I may have to roast the guys here in a minute, because they're the main ones that are doing this. I don't want to go out because it's just too expensive and stuff, man. It's bullshit, man. I just ain't got the money. I'm gonna call the hypocrisy out on this in a minute. I'll get later on into that. Hold that thought. So now we get through that. Number 16, lazy, which is another one. You have those friends that are fucking lazy. And I'm not talking about from a job perspective, but just laziness. You have to drag them around. They're fucking lazy. And that's another thing that bothers me. I don't say anything. I try to be civil about it. But one thing I can't stand is just a lazy couch potato. And it's not even just from a working ethic. It's just laziness.
Steven, I have to make the joke here. Do you have, I'm surprised you got friends, man. I'm not trying to be mean, but damn, you were like on a roll with this shit. I mean, look, yes, we've all dealt with people who are lazy. And yes, people who are lazy can be very annoying. I get it. But there are people that are entitled to be lazy, man. It's their life. You only got one life to live. It's their life to choose what they want to do. As long as it's not affecting you, and they're not bumming off of you, then there's no problem. Why do you care? Why do you care? If it's not affecting you physically, emotionally, everything, and they're not, now I can understand if they're being lazy and they're bumming money off of you, or they're bumming cigarettes off of you, or they're bumming something off of you, and they're not giving you anything in return, then I can understand you being a little upset about it. But you also, at that point, have to go back to what I said before. You have that choice to say no as well. There are some lazy fucks out there, but then again, though, it goes back to what we were saying on the other one. There could be some issues with that person that you may not understand why that person's lazy. I mean, we have friends too who can be pretty lazy. And, me and Mel, we don't fault them for it. We're just like, look, it's their prerogative. If they want to sleep all day or they want to do this all day, that's their life. Who am I to tell them what they can and cannot do? I don't like anybody telling me what I can and cannot do. So why the fuck would I want to do that to anybody else? And I mean, I can understand you being inside a house, you going inside your friend's house and you see some stuff and you're like, man, do they pick up after themselves and stuff like that? You can think that in your head, but don't say it out loud. I mean, there's some people out there that are like, man, I don't want to go over there because this house smells or this house is trashy or this and that. We've had friends say that because they're like, oh my god, it smelled like cats in here before, this and that. And it's like, yeah, but is it affecting you? Is it literally going inside your pores? Is it literally like affecting you going, meow, meow, meow? No, it's not. So, I mean, you have to think of it from that perspective too.
Slouches around, has no motivation, no energy, nothing. It's bullshit. It is. Okay. Number 15. Now, I'm probably a little guilty of this. OCD. You'll have those friends that OCD a lot, right? I OCD. I'll tell you what I do. I go to the car. I put my hands in my pockets. I feel for my wallet and my keys. Okay. I make sure my wallet and my keys are in my pocket. I take the wallet and the keys and I look at them. I put them back in my fucking pocket. Then I press the unlock. I open the door. I get inside the car. I shut the door. I pull my wallet out, put it inside the console. I always do this. I get my key, make sure it's working, put it in, start the ignition. Now, when I get out of the car, I leave my wallet in the console. I don't know why I always do that. I leave my wallet in the console. I take my keys out. I lock it, I shut the door, lock the door, stick it in my pocket. Then I stick my keys back out of my pocket to make sure my keys are still there. I don't know why I do that. Okay.
And OCD is a mental thing. Mel's OCD is that discs have to be clean, and there can't be no fingerprints or scratches on it, and she will go and clean them off. Um, when I leave the house, I have to check the door, even though it's locked. I have to make sure that the doorknob is completely closed, and make sure it's locked. I mean, that's just how I am. Everybody's got some ODC. There's some people who are very anal about their OCD, though. I will agree with that. There are some people who are very anal about it, and but then again, though, it goes back to what I'm saying. It's their right to be that way. You can't sit there and complain that they're OCD when you have an OCD and I have an OCD and Mel's got an OCD. That person's got an OCD. You can't really complain about that. You get an OCD, yeah, you know me.
Now, that's just that. But when you have people that OCD over the littlest things, I'm talking about like they won't stop talking. And it gets annoying after a while. You have those friends that do that. And you try to be civil, you're like, okay, I never get a word in here, but all right, I'll just let this motherfucker keep talking. 3 hours later, still fucking talking. Won't shut the fuck up. You have friends like that. I mean, every now and then I meet a guy that's like that. Okay, so that's number 15. Well, number 14 is they can't stop speaking and talk a lot and won't shut the fuck up and never, ever plans to shut the fuck up.
Okay, number 14, you said people who can't quit talking. Maybe there's some people out there who just don't get out enough and they feel like they're talkers. People who love to talk. I mean, there are some times where we'll be in a group and I'll try to talk and I get cut off and stuff like that, and because Mel's a talker in person, but it's not something that annoys the fuck out of me. I mean, I understand that could be a mental block with that person. I mean, it's if someone wants to talk, hell, There's people on here who likes talking a lot. I mean, I can name off a few of you who likes talking a lot. I mean, it's I didn't really start liking really talking until I became a ghost tour guide and a history guide. And that's when I started having like 30, 40, 50 people with me. And that's when I started really learning to understand the words of talking on here.
And sometimes I like to talk, but not all the time. Sometimes I would like to get a word in, but sometimes you have that friend or two that won't shut the fuck up. Now, to be fair, usually girls do this. Nothing personal, ladies. This is like what my homegirls do all the time. Is they'll try to bring a bunch of drama, Jerry Springer bullshit with ex-boyfriends or current boyfriends, and I don't want nothing to do with it. I used to listen to it, got tired of it. And that's a lot of reasons why I don't have too many female friends because of that. I only have like maybe 2 or 3 or 4, and they know that I don't want to hear about it. I don't want to hear about no ex-boyfriends, no current baby daddies. That's your problem. You go to talk to a counselor about that. I'm not Dr. Phil. None of that shit. You go talk to a psychiatrist and go seek help because that's got nothing to do with, oh, I just want to vent to you. No, because what happens is a lot of the times they involve you in that shit and they drag you into that. And I don't want nothing to do with that. So you go talk to a professional.
Okay. It's not the fact that they're dragging you into their drama, Steven. Even Stevens. There's no one's trying to drag you. The only person that can drag yourself into that drama is yourself. But if a friend's coming to you and you're a guy and that girl and there's a friend is a girl and they're coming to you for advice, 9 times out of 10 they're just wanting to they're wanting to understand. That's a good word I'm looking for. They just want to understand the men in that part. Maybe they're wanting to understand something that you may give them the answer that they're looking for. Or maybe they just like to vent and they want to talk and they just want to talk someone's ear off. Just use your ear for a little bit. You can tune them out. Hell, there's some times where people have talked to me, or maybe they want something else. Or maybe they want you. You don't know. If you learn to shut up, you would know. But there's some times where people have come to me and they will complain about something. I just let them complain in my ear. Half the time, I'm also doing something else where I'm not paying attention to everything they're saying. You have to be very skilled with that. You can't just be like, hey, my cat died. Oh, that's cool. You have to be very skilled in learning how to tune it out too. But you can also speak up for yourself and say, look, what's going on between you and your guy is between you guys. I don't want to get involved. You have that power to speak up as a person. But if you don't speak up and you're letting your homegirls say all this stuff, then that's on you. Because now you're allowing that person to go, hey, I'm allowing that player to come in here now, and you're allowing that person to be like, hey, well, Steven's cool with it. I can talk to Steven all day long now. So I kind of have to disagree. I'm disagreeing with you on this one. This one's one of those things where you have to look at it from a different perspective. And that's the thing that most of you see. That's the thing. You're a single guy. I'm a married guy. I've been married for 11 years. I've been with Mel for about 17, 18 years. So as a married guy, I know a lot. I'm not trying to say I know it all, but I know a lot more than you do in this situation. And people in Texas and people in Tennessee are totally different. Yeah, I know we're both southern states. We both like to shoot people. We both like to do these things. Yeah. But at the same time, and we might be football rivals, but at the same time, I don't understand. I mean, the people there in Texas, you know them better than I do. I don't understand that situation. Hell, Travis has told me some stuff about people in Texas, and Poston's told me things, but that doesn't mean that that every single person's that way. Not every girl's that way. Sometimes a girl genuinely does come to you because they really want your advice on what they can do. on the situation because they're like, hey, well, I'm trying to get through to my man. My man's not paying attention. You're a guy. What can I do? What can I do to better this situation? And all you got to do is give them advice. And it's their choice whether or not to take that advice. And if they take your advice and it doesn't work, then it's not your fault. That's their fault. Because they took your advice and your advice didn't work, then oh well. That you were just being a good friend. And Mel said at the end of the day, it's always your fault.
Doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
Professional psychiatrist, you go see somebody professional that can get with. I don't want nothing to do with that. As I get older, your stress, your mental health means what? Everything. I don't want to hear about it. Any exes or anything, that was not meant for me to hear. I'm not your ex. I'm not your current boyfriend. I ain't courting you. I ain't dating you. And I ain't fucking you. So I don't want to hear it. So it's actually wasting my energy just to even address it. But to be fair, mostly ladies do this. But there are some guys, too, that do the same thing. Every now and then there's a guy. But most times it's usually women that do that with me, that I encounter. Which is, women are naturally emotional, so I get it. But you go see a professional psychiatrist that's more equipped to handle your stress with ain't shit dudes. Leave me out of it. Okay, now I'm gonna read the comments and then we'll go over the last 11. I had 11 left. Let's go ahead and read through it. I always talk during my live streams. I hate sitting still. Well, sounds good. Oh, look, it's funny, Steven. I'm not quite the talker, but I love to walk around a lot. Well, that's good. Steven, I love the passion you're saying with this. Well, I appreciate that. Thanks to sub, the homeless man got you. I know, friend, the drama you're talking about. Yeah, we all do. Sub to everyone here. Hey, man, oh my God, Steven, I once met a guy who wouldn't stop talking. He was German descent. Oh, he loved his own voice. Oh, he always thought he was smarter than everyone else. I believe it. I know you would love the Toronto Natural Reserve. Oh, my God, yeah, the nice guy. Well, it's because some people are disabled and maybe couldn't get out of the house. Well, in that case, maybe there is. Maybe that's a reason. But usually most people can't get out of the house. Maybe there's certain circumstances like that, but most people can't get out of the house because they're fucking lazy and boring. Now, here's another one. Mountains are my favorite. I love to go to mountains if I could. Oh, the hummingbird. Sometimes I like to walk in the morning and see the beautiful mountains. See, there you go. Big up, Steve-O. What's up, man? Well, Joe Biden just implemented fascism. Now he's trying to implement it. When you come to Costa Rica, Steven, like I said, I'm getting my passport. Let's see. Time and planning is for young folks now. Maybe. Some people have never tried to discover interest in doing in their own area. Yeah. See, here's the thing. Hey, Hunter Iggy, what's up, man? See, here's the thing that bothers me the most. Texans will beat the Broncos on the 18th. Probably not. Even if, let's say, for example, for example, Travis, I think he likes going to the bars. And bars is okay if it's a sports bar, but he likes to go to these little rock metal bars. And it didn't seem interested at first. But then I said, man, I'll try it. And I'm like, it ain't that bad. It's maybe not my cup of tea, like something I would do on my own. But if, let's say I was hanging out with him, he said, hey, let's go there. Fuck it, let's do it. It's called having an open mind, And people lack interest nowadays. It seems like people are so fucking boring. They're so fucking limited to one or two things. That's it.
It's not the fact that people are boring. There are some boring people, but it's not the fact that people are boring, Stephen. It's the fact that people have their own likes and dislikes. You have your own likes and dislikes. I have my own likes and dislikes. Travis has his own likes and dislikes. Going to a metal bar sounds pretty fucking fun to me. But there was a times where I didn't go to a metal bar, even though I like metal. I didn't go to metal bars with some friends in the past. Because I have very sensitive ears. And I still battle with tinnitus in my ear now. Tinnitus. So for me, it's a little bit harder to go to these little metal bars and metal concerts and things like that because of my ears being sensitive. Again, that's not an excuse. That's a legit reason on why you don't want to go somewhere. And maybe you just don't like that person you're wanting to go with either. But at the same time, though, it's not the fact that people are not interested or wanting to explore out there anymore. People just get older and people are just getting set in their own ways. and that's their prerogative. I mean, you don't have to like it. I don't always like it. I mean, I like people who are wanting to do things, but at the same time, I mean, you can't just basically go around going, "Hey, well, they're lazy, they're this, and that." There's insinuating circumstances that you yourself may not know.
All right, so that is over with. Let's go ahead and go to number 10, which is very important to me. A motherfucker that can't behave. Now, what do I mean by that? Somebody's always starting fights, getting in trouble, getting you kicked out of places, stuff like that. Now, my cousin.
Okay, so the person who's starting trouble, if they're a troublemaker and they're starting trouble at the bar, this is what I would do. Let them get their ass kicked. Let them learn something. I know that I know somebody that will run their mouth. They'll probably get their ass kicked and they'll continue to still run their mouth anyways. That's just, people are built that way. Some people are like that. Now, if you're an innocent person and you just drank too much, and I know that you're a good person, like one of Mel's former coworkers who was at her birthday one time, and I had to help him from getting his ass kicked by a guy that was going to whoop his ass for him talking to his girl. I mean, those situations are a little different. But it's not like, if you have a troublemaker friend, and I had 2 or 3 troublemaker friends back in the day that I was childhood buddies with, I distanced myself from them because they were getting into that gang life that I didn't want to be a part of, and I didn't want to be around that. So I distanced myself from them. That's what I would tell anybody. If you got somebody who just gets into trouble all the time, either A, don't go with them, B, let them get their ass kicked, C, just because if you hang out with that person, you are automatically, in this world, you're automatically guilty by association. There's no ends, buts about it. It happens. You're guilty by association. If you have that one friend who's a complete, utter prick or dirtbag, and you're friends with that person, and they don't want that person around, you are automatically guilty by association. It's not fair. It's not, but life's not fair.
He used to do that a lot. He used to go to places and he would start shit. He would get drunk, start talking. A couple drinks, but they were fucked up. But I just had a couple of drinks. It wasn't no big deal. So I'm just sitting there drinking, whatever, chilling. And anyway,
okay, he's talking too much about his story.
This isn't at this point. I said, okay, you can't behave yourself. I told him in the car. So as soon as he sat in the car, I said, you can't behave yourself. I pointed like that. And he said, what does that mean? I said, you can't behave yourself, sir. I said, you're a detriment to my future endeavors of going out places. I think we're probably going to have to cut ties. So this is probably going to be we can hang out and stuff at your house stuff, but like going out places is probably not going to happen, dude. Because this is not what I envisioned of us hanging out, going out place. I'm sitting on the chair. This dude grabbed me and tried to lift me up. So I said, what the fuck? So like out of nowhere, I just turned around. I was going like this. And he's like, come on, motherfucker. And I realized it was the owner. I'm like, what the fuck? And there was a security guard. Like they were ready. And I didn't do nothing.
It doesn't matter if you did anything or not, Steven. Years of working security and being around bars, I can honestly tell you do not know the shit that a security guard goes through on a nightly basis. All the trash talk, and you got those drunks who think that it's fucking Roadhouse with fucking Patrick Swayze, and they're over there like, well, I think I could kick your ass, and this and that. You don't know the deals that we have to deal with sometimes. And it's not just the men. Sometimes the women are trying to attack you and scratch you and bite you and kick you in the nads with their heels. And there's a lot of things that, so when security guards are coming at you like that, you don't know the shit that they've been through. So you may have been like, well, I didn't do anything. I'm like, well, yeah, but when you come up at them and you got your fists up like you're about ready to fight, yeah, you're lucky they didn't knock you the fuck out.
So I tried to go back last year. I walked in there, have a couple drinks. They're like, the next thing you know, I had a couple drinks. They're like, Steve, I'm like, yeah, you're out of here, dude. And I'm like, oh, like I thought I explained to you I didn't do anything. They're like, nope, you got to go. They're like, you're banned from here. I'm like, for how long? They're like, forever. I'm like, forever? I'm like, so what if I die? You're going to keep my bones? He's like, oh, okay, wise ass, get up. So I was like, I got up. He's like, put your drink there. I'm like, I went like that real quick because I paid for the drink. So I went, he's like, come on, let's get the fuck out of here. I'm like, all right, dude, I don't want no problems. He's like, you should have thought about that when you were grabbing her ass. I said, man, dude, I explained to you, I didn't touch that woman. And they threw me out, bro.
Unfortunately, in that situation, Stephen, most times a bar or a security is going to believe the woman over you. I know that's fucked up, but that's just the nature of the beast. If a woman comes up to a security guard and says that they point to you, saying you're the one that grabbed them by the ass, that security guard and the owner of that bar is automatically going to be looking at you from now on. There's really no ways around that.
And it was my cousin that did that shit. And he confessed after we left. He was like, yeah, Dad was just trying to get her attention. I said, you grabbed her ass, bro? He's like, well, I didn't grab it like that. I was like, bro, you basically grabbed her ass, bro. You can get charged for that shit, bro. I said, I could have caught a case, man. So I learned my lesson. Sometimes you just have to say, you know what, man, I'm not going to hang out with certain people. And he was one of them, man. He gets thrown out of every place he goes to. In fact, there's times where we've walked into certain bars and they're like, you're that guy right there, not you. That motherfucker's banned. I'm like, oh shit, what'd you do? Like, what did you do, man? And he's like, I don't know. And they're like, yeah, you know what you did, motherfucker. Get out of here. So when we left, I was like, bro, what did you do? Like, we just barely walked in here. I don't know these motherfuckers. He's like, oh, it's because I was starting fights in here. I'm like, oh, drugs. Or whatever the case is. Because I really don't hang around addicts no more. Because I just not my thing. I don't do drugs. You know what I'm saying? I like that drink every now and then.
All right, Steven. I'm not going to do all 25 of your things, but I think I made my point pretty clear on the 25 friends you deal with. I know you're on like what number 9 or 8, but I'm not going to get into that specifics. So I'm not going to spend 2 hours doing it. I didn't really want to be on here for an hour and 22 minutes. But the point is I'll respond to your last couple ones and I will post them on your video. But I do have your video on the description, so some of you can actually go and watch Steven's video. You can go and watch his video. It pretty much is right there for you guys to see. Let me know in the comments down below what some of you guys think, or some of the stuff that you guys have dealt with, as far as friendships go and everything like that. I will say, though, there were some points where Steven was kind of talking out of his ass. I got love for you, man, but damn, there were some things where I was like, that is some complete, utter fuck up shit, bro. But anyways, I'm Big Kev for Big Kev's World. Like, share, and sub. See that little button on my video that has a little bit of the Terminator skull? Just click on that, and then you can click on that bell for all the notification needs of every video that come lives, so you guys can actually be able to see it. But I am Big Kev, and you're not. I like to thank everybody that did come in here and view earlier. I like to thank Leon for some of his comments. And like I said, go watch the rest of Steven's video. I think I was on number 9 or number 8. But he was explaining it really loud, and his thing was 2 hours long, so I can't do that. But anyways, let me know what you guys think.